sermon that stuck with me is one of the first ones I ever preached at Zelma. We had gone down there in the winter, I think at Christmas or New Year's, and we went to church. And of course, the preacher, I forget who he was at that time, he couldn't get up from Young because the road was blocked with snow. And there was the little congregation sitting, waiting for a worship service. And my mother said to me, "Well, you can preach a sermon, can't you?" I said, "Oh, all right." So I went up to the pulpit, and we had a study of the parable of the dry land and the stony land, one thing or another. And they had Dr. Corsten, who was very good. He was a very good New Testament man. He had talked about this, and so I just opened up the Bible to that parable, and I proceeded to preach that parable to them. And afterwards, the mother said, "That's the best sermon I've heard for a long time."
That's wonderful. Nice. What nice. About you, Fred? Do any sermons, either yours or somebody else, any of them kind of stick with you?
Well, when I was being commissioned to be a missionary in India, Dave was doing the sermon. And I remember he preached on, what was it now? Whatever it was.
Not many people remember any of my sermons.
Whatever it was, it stuck with me. It was the idea of
almost,
the rope,
anyway.
you know.
An almost sermon, maybe that's what it was.
No, it was, you know, that passage somewhere, stretch out the ropes, and whoever that is.
Sure.
Well.
And
I better look back in my old files.
Enlarge your territory.
Yeah, something like that.
From,
anyway, so I remember him saying,
and that
no use sending Fred over to India if we're not pulling the ropes.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Well, I think you should just add a word about how you ended up in India when you thought you were going to go to Africa.
Korea.
After the manner of the church is the same as any other government. They always do something different from what they were going to.
Well, I had applied to go to Africa because I heard this missionary, Dr. Knight, came to speak to us in the second year.
Yeah.
He was in Angola, of course. So I applied to Africa. Of course, they said, "No, we'll send you to India." Then when I got down to Toronto to meet the committee, Dr. Honey said, "Would you go to Korea?" They were pleading for people to go to Korea.
Oh, my goodness.
I said, "Oh no, I think I should go to India." And of course I went to India, and that's where I met
the Lord knew
that your wife
was waiting for you in India.
There you go. Yeah.
And I never, of course, had no idea that would be. I just had a feeling I should go to India.
So, Steve, you've had to listen to your 3 ordained brothers a number of times. Anything stood out?
Well, Steve,
Steve
used to being the younger brother.
I was always listening to them talking, so it wasn't anything really that significant. We had
just preacher talk. Eh?
Yep, just preacher talk.
That's good.
In Zelma, we had a series of either students or people or ministers ready to retire.
Misfits.
Misfits, and they couldn't get them into any place else, so they sent them to Young Zelma. So.
I heard one person describe this as we always got them either on the way up or the way down.
Yeah.